Welcome UW-Platteville students. There are 3 steps to prepare you to vote on November 5th. We are Pioneers Vote, a registered student organization. You can find us on Pioneer Link. The November 5th election has on the ballot offices of President, both houses of Congress, the state legislature, and a constitutional amendment. Eligibility for voting? You must be 18 by election day, a U.S. citizen, live 28 days at your voting address, and not serving a sentence for a felony conviction. The 3 steps to prepare are choose where to vote, register after 28 days, and get an acceptable ID. Step number 1, choose where to vote. University students have a unique option that they can choose to register and vote from one address, either their hometown address or their campus area address. If you choose to vote using your campus area address, here are some advantages. Voting in person is easier and more secure than using a mailed absentee ballot. Votes are critical in a swing state and a swing congressional district like Platteville. Local and state elections affect the campus area and the University of Wisconsin. For students living in UW-Platteville residence halls, the election day polling place is right on campus at Ulsvik Hall. There are some disadvantages to using your campus area address. Each time you move, you must re-register. You cannot complete your registration online unless your voting address matches the address on file with the Division of Motor Vehicles. On the other hand, if you choose to vote using your hometown address in Wisconsin, you will probably vote by using an absentee mail ballot, since you won't be in your hometown on November 5th election day. Using your hometown address has some advantages. A stable address avoids the need for frequent registration. You can complete your registration online at myvote.wi.gov if you have a Wisconsin driver license or a DMV-issued ID card, and the address on file with DMV matches your voting address. Once you are registered, you can request an absentee mail ballot at myvote.wi.gov. It comes with a return envelope and postage. Some disadvantages of using your hometown address. Mailing an absentee ballot to you and you mailing it back to the clerk takes time. You have to make the request on a timely basis. Special procedures for an absentee ballot must be met to have the ballot counted. Follow the directions that come with your ballot. Step number 2 is register to vote. You need to register if you are a first-time voter in Wisconsin, your address has changed, your name has changed, or you have not voted in over 4 years. You can register when you have lived at your voting address for 28 days. If you have been issued either a Wisconsin driver license or a Wisconsin DMV-issued ID, that number must go on the registration form. If you don't know your license number, you can call the DMV. If you have not been issued either a Wisconsin driver license or a DMV ID card, then you register using the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. Some voters are able to complete their registration online at myvote.wi.gov. Online registration ends 20 days before Election Day. In order to complete your registration online, you must meet all 3 criteria. First, you must be 18 when you register. You must have a valid, unexpired Wisconsin driver license or a DMV-issued ID card. And 3, your voting address must match the address on file with the DMV. This match serves as proof of residence, which we abbreviate as POR. You can update your DMV address on the website tinyurl.com/DMV address. There are some ramifications of changing your address with the DMV. This address affects mail from the DMV, such as expiration notices. It affects whether you pay a wheel tax and perhaps your insurance rates. Many students prefer to avoid changing their address with the DMV. For other methods of registration, you will need proof of residence, which must show name and address. Examples of acceptable proof of residence are a Wisconsin driver license, a utility bill, a bank statement, a paycheck. Any government document can be used as proof of residence. A lease is okay for in-person registration at your clerk's office or at your polling place on election day. All eligible UW-Platteville students can use the voter enrollment letter from PASS as proof of residence. It is a government document. Log into PASS, the Pioneer Administrative Software System, log in from the dashboard, select Enrollment, and select Print Voter Enrollment. If your address shown is not your current voting address, log into PASS, select My Profile, Contact Info, and edit your address. There are several alternative methods of registering. One is to print a registration form using myvote.wi.gov. If you do not have a Wisconsin driver license and you do not have a DMV issued ID, you cannot complete your registration online. However, myvote.wi.gov will take your data and prompt you to print, sign, and mail the paperwork to your municipal clerk at least 20 days before Election Day. You must include proof of residence. Another method of registering is through a registration drive. Bring printed proof of residence to a registration event. Registration helpers will assist you in filling out a paper registration form and getting it to your clerk. This method ends 20 days before Election Day. You can also register at your clerk's office until 5 p.m. on the Friday before Election Day. For in-person registration, proof of residence can be paper or electronic. You can show it on your phone. The Platteville clerk is 6 blocks from campus at 75 North Bonson. Another method of registration is that you can mail a completed registration form to your municipal clerk at least 20 days before Election Day. Include proof of residence. You can find your clerk at myvote.wi.gov. You can register on Election Day at your polling place, which you can find at myvote.wi.gov. Proof of residence can be paper or electronic. Step number 3 is to get an acceptable voter ID. In order to get a ballot, you will need to show an acceptable photo ID. UW-Platteville students can get a free special student voter ID from the campus card office in the Marquee Student Center. Bring along your standard campus card in order to get that special student voter ID. Other acceptable voter IDs in Wisconsin are a Wisconsin driver license, a DMV-issued ID card, a U.S. passport, military ID, tribal ID, certificate of naturalization, or a Veteran Affairs ID. The address on your ID does not matter for proving your identity. There are some particular IDs that are not acceptable for voting. An out-of-state driver license is not acceptable. The standard UW-Platteville campus card is not acceptable. During this presentation, I've mentioned myvote.wi.gov several times. It's a very useful site run by the Wisconsin Elections Commission. You can check your registration there, find your polling place, see what's on your ballot, and request an absentee ballot. For further details for UW-Platteville students, go to uwplatt.edu/go-vote. Consider joining us to help your fellow students get registered. Our email address is pioneersvote@uwplatt.edu. In conclusion, choose where to vote is step 1. Step 2 is register after 28 days of residency. And step 3, get an acceptable IV. Thank you for your time and attention.